Hello everyone. Recently, I made a second character and I didn't really want to think when leveling it, so I just make an alch-go strategy. And that is what I've been running since level 80 to level 95. Initially, I also had like Beyond and Delirium, but I decided to drop them later just because I was spending too much time per map. And I wasn't able to focus on what I really wanted to focus on, which is Necropolis. Because after the buffs, the league mechanic is very much worth interacting with, both in terms of the actual league mechanic and what you get extra in maps. Even though that was hotfixed a little bit recently, it's still really good. And the corpses that you get, because the crafting that you can actually do on the graveyard is now insane. And I pretty much try to avoid anything in maps that takes extra time. I have Ether altars, which is like the only thing I'm willing to do extra. And a few boxes, which is like, whatever, right? Doesn't really matter, it doesn't take that much time. And they are good for when you hit a good Necropolis mod, so I decided to include them. Otherwise, it's like 1 to 2 minutes per map's maximum, and you just blast all day and get rewarded for it. So in this map, we only got 2 corpses, usually you get more, but most of these corpses are worth about 10 chaos on average. Make sure to update your Awakened PoE trade so you can actually know. This one is only worth 5, but it is what it is. And you also drop a lot of all flames, which, I mean, these ones are like 10c each. The Scarab ones, this one is probably worth plus, yeah. But you can see that you drop a lot of like 5 to 10c items that you can just try to dump in like a 5c tab, 10c tab, 20c tab. Just make a bunch of tabs and then you dump into them. I don't actually do that. I keep my corpses for crafting, but if you care about currency, that is what you should do. And you can even upcharge and sell in bulk. Like, for example, these ones, I think if you have more than one, like let's say you have like 5 or 10 of them, instead of selling them for 10 chaos, you can probably try to list them for 15 or 20c, especially if you use TFT. And in general, I think the average corpse value is between like 7 to 8 chaos, and you get a lot per map on average. If you are too lazy to price check every single corpse and you just want to like dump them into a tab, that's fine. But you should learn which corpses are worth a lot. So there's a PoE ninja link when you can click coffins. And for example, gems modifiers are scarcer for 1 divine. Same for resistances. And like you get these every now and then, right? And there's a mirrored copy, additional copy. There's just a lot of crafts that you should be aware of. Once you start getting to the 20c range, you can just start dumping them into tabs, but it is something to note. Same for the all flames. I think it's very hard to actually buy all flames in bulk, so if you have a bunch of them, you should be able to sell them on like a way better price, right? The other thing I want to show is how you actually deal with activating the mob device in Necropolis, because there's some stuff to be learned here as well. So for chance to drop an additional item, if this is like Exalt or Annul or Divine, even though it got nerfed a bit, you want to use rats or frogs. So keep this in mind. Generally, higher pack density at the top, lower pack density at the bottom. So you want to put it at the top and then replace it with either rats or frogs. If it's an item you care about, obviously we wouldn't do it for chance orbs, right? But there is also other mods that are worth mentioning. Let me try to look for them real quick. Nothing there. Hope I can get it quick. Again, these are the conversion. We would just use rats and frogs. Nothing here again. You wouldn't actually be burning maps like this, obviously. I just want to showcase. That's not the one I was looking for either. Oh, this one. Strongest monster in the pack. Dropped armor is converted to Orbs of Scouring. Obviously, I don't know if you care about Orbs of Scourings, but in general, what you want to use here is either Abyss Monsters, Rogue Exiles, or Meat Sacks. Especially when it says Jewelry, I would use Rogue Exiles. Otherwise, Meat Sacks and Abyss Jewels will do just fine. Or Abyss Monsters or whatever. And this is what you want to do instead of Rats and Frogs for that. And you see this one that says increased quantity of item drop. That one is pretty good with the stuff that we drop in the map, like this one with Scarabs, for example, right? I could put this in and I have increased quantity of Scarabs, or I can move it up and put increased quantity of Scarabs there too. This also says +1 modifier tier, which upgrades the tier. You don't need to pay too much attention to this, but it is generally worth it to move them up to have the higher density. play around with this. Once you understand it, it is very easy and it doesn't take any extra time. But highly recommend actually interacting with it since it's worth it now. Even though it got hotfixed from being super OP to just being good, I will still not sleep on it. This is not the biggest part of your profit, but it still definitely helps. But that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Now let's take a look at the Atlas. So I have pretty much every Necropolis node except these ones, which is just reduce effective haunted modifiers. We don't really want that. I don't take any of the keystones down here because this one is just not very good. And this one, you lose control over what I just was showing in the interface. If you are really lazy and you know you don't want to bother with the all flames, you could click this, but then you don't drop all flames, which you do lose out on profit, so I would recommend against that. The one thing I'm not sure about is whether you want decisive souls or not. I'm currently testing it without it and just playing condensed souls. You definitely don't want royal souls, in my opinion, but I haven't really checked every single one of the unique boxes, so maybe price check them for yourself if you want to. But I'm pretty sure this is not worth running. The ones I price checked were quite cheap. I think Perandus one is actually worth something, but the rest are kind of worthless. Decisive Soul is something that I need to do a lot more testing on. So the meta modifiers are very polarizing. They're all either really cheap, almost worthless, or really expensive, like 1 divine for chance to create a copy of an item or an additional item. So that is something to be tested, whether you are losing or gaining value. Since I'm mostly collecting corpses for my own crafting, I have decided to opt out of it. And I'm just stocking up on corpses, and I will do my own crafting probably tomorrow or maybe even today and try to learn how it actually functions. Craft of Exile actually has a very good interface for it, so I will try to learn on stream. So if you wanna tune in and check it out to learn with me, feel free to do so. Otherwise, I'll see you in the YouTube update in like 2 days when I figure it out. Otherwise, my Atlas doesn't have anything special. I put on Nico for a little bit of extra speed. Shrines, same reasoning. I put in either altars just to try to fish for like a divine altar or something. I got like an exalt altar earlier, so like it gives something. It's not a big deal, but it's better than nothing. And I did click some mob sustain nodes because without them, I felt like I was like actually not dropping any mobs with 4 void stones. So I decided to include them. We also have strong boxes. Strong boxes can be really good with the all flames because they spawn the when you replace a monster in a map, it spawns the replaced monster with the all flame that you use, so you gain extra rewards from strong boxes. And if you are running the rogue exile one, you can roll it for rogue exiles and stuff. It's definitely worth running. And I mean, box takes like 5 seconds to open, so no one really minds boxes, right? And I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Again, I pretty much run my maps alch-go. I don't really want to put in any effort into them. I was doing some stuff with Beyond and Delirium before, and it didn't feel too bad, but if you want to focus mostly on Necropolis, you would probably skip out on it. So it's up to you. This is very versatile. You can add other stuff on your Atlas. If you don't want the Shrines and Nico, you could just add Beyond, you could just add Delirium, you could add anything you feel like you want to have on your maps, maybe Essence if you are in SS7 especially. So there's a lot. Just don't add mechanics that make you spend extra time in maps because it becomes less efficient then, right? So I wouldn't go for like Harvest or June or Harvey even, or Expedition. Big Boom Expedition could actually be okay if you do it really fast. But this is like the skeleton of the Atlas that you want to go for. Just make sure you pick up pretty much every Necropolis node on the Atlas, except these 2 and the keystones. And that is pretty much all you need to know. And then make sure to list your corpses for, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 divines depending on the corpse. Sorry, Chaos Eye, you wish it was divine. Depending on the corpse, and if you are willing to farm a lot and you plan on farming bulk, you should probably list them for like 50% above the market price, or even 100%. Or you should try to sell them in TFT if you're gonna farm a lot, because otherwise it's gonna be difficult to sell bulk. Since the trade site doesn't really have a good UI for it, sadly yet. Even though there has been a lot of trade improvements this week, they kinda missed the ball on that one. Similar with all flames, I don't know how good those actually are, but I hope they are good enough. Otherwise, this is pretty much it for the update on my Atlas. If you guys have any questions in the comments or any suggestions, because I've been only testing this for a few hours, I'm down to hear them. Maybe there's some stuff I could include in my Atlas that will just make it a lot better, so please let me know in the comments. And let me know if you care about these Atlas strats that are... I mean, realistically speaking, right, this is not some 500 IQ strats, this is just an alch-go strat where you don't really have to think, and I think a lot of people appreciate those. I mean, I know I enjoy them myself every time I do them, so that is what I want to share with people as well. Let me know how you feel about it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye everyone!